quick video today, guys, but it is a pretty fun video because Lexus is playing around with the idea of creating a GR Corolla, but a Lexus version of it, and they've made it in this LBX Morizo RR. It's just a concept for now, but I have a feeling that Lexus is actually going to build this, and I really hope they bring this to the US, even though it doesn't look like it. But I'm gonna let you know why I think that would be a great idea for Lexus. So I want to show you this design because I've seen some comments about this design saying that it looks ugly, doesn't look great, but I think it looks really cool. This is what you want a small hot hatchback to look like. Aggressive and angry, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be that. So before we jump into Photoshop here and compare this LBX Morizo to the GR Corolla, which it was the most fun car I reviewed of all last year, was the GR Corolla. They also have the GR Yaris, which if the Corolla was that fun to drive, the GR Yaris must be a proper go-kart because it has the same powertrain as the GR Corolla. So before we jump into Photoshop here, let's have a look at what this LBX Morizo RR concept is all about from this article from Car and Driver. I'm gonna link it down below as always. So Toyota dresses up the GR Corolla as the Lexus LBX Morizo RR. So we have the same powertrain as you have in the GR Corolla, meaning that we do have the 300 horsepower turbocharged 3-cylinder from the GR Corolla, but is now mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. That's where I think maybe it's a little strange to have a powerful little hatchback like this, but then they stick an automatic in it. But then again, this is the Lexus version, so we already have the GR Corolla, which is essentially the same, built on the same platform and the same powertrain with a manual transmission. So I do think it actually suits Lexus to have this be in automatic, and that is one of the reasons why I think this should be sold in the US when they eventually build this, because I'm pretty sure they're gonna put this into production, because just look at it, it's pretty much production ready, and it looks awesome with this lower intake here, super aggressive Darth Vader look in the front end. The LBX Morizo RR also wears unique muscular bumpers and yellow accents in the grille and on the brake calipers. The GR Corolla is a take on a hot hatch that it combines sharp styling with potent 300 horsepower turbocharged inline 3. It's only a 3-cylinder, but you really don't notice that when you drive it. It feels like a proper 4-cylinder. I do also love that you have this rally-inspired adjustable all-wheel drive system, so you can have it be front-wheel bias or rear-wheel bias, but just turning a dial. Very cool. The GR Corolla struggles to separate itself from its 23,145 base car, which is based upon. The GR Corolla costs $37,595. I don't agree with that sentence because I think the GR Corolla is a completely different car from the base Corolla hatchback. When I drove it, I thought, what have Toyota done with this little Corolla? And as I said, the Toyota is going to drop the same 1.6-liter powertrain into the subcompact LBX crossover sold in Europe. And they call this a crossover. Come on, this is a hatchback. It's not a crossover. This is as much of a hatchback design as you can get. So the engine is unchanged, 300 horses and 295 pound-feet of torque. And as I said, it's fitted with an 8-speed automatic. And then you have the GR Yaris, which I also wish was sold here because I think it would sell really well, specifically with the same powertrain as you have in the already. It doesn't feel, the GR Corolla doesn't feel overpowered, but it feels like it has way more power than you expect it to have, and that is a small car. And then you have the GR Yaris that also has the same powertrain. So as I said, that has to be a proper go-kart to drive. 0 to 60 in the LBX Morizo is expected to be less than 5 seconds. You have a redesigned bumper with a larger grille and sizable lower intakes. There's also a yellow accent trim piece linking the headlights and echoing the color of the brake calipers, which clamp 18-inch rotors up front and 16 inches in the rear. Those are pretty big brake rotors for this type of package, and that is bigger than you have on the GR Corolla. The rear bumper also has a restyled, and it has also been restyled and houses a small diffuser down here, as you can see. More on that in a minute. You also have these lines here, very reminiscent of the wide body kit that we have on the GR Corolla, but it's a lot smoother integration here than what we have in the Corolla. And you also have dual exhaust pipes. We don't have that unique, which I like, the 3-setup exhaust system that we have on the GR Corolla does not carry over to the Lexus. They keep it a little bit dialed down. Since it is a Lexus, we need to be a little bit more serious than the Toyota. And you also have 19-inch wheels with 235 millimeter wide tires, which is also, again, pretty wide tires for this type of package, and it sits proper. Look at how beautiful this sits on the ground. 19-inch wheels, 235 tires front and rear, planting this car properly. So it's still just a concept, as I said. Even if the Morizo RR were to escape concept car purgatory, the LBX likely won't come to the United States. And I'm gonna let you know why I think it's a good idea for Lexus to bring this to the States after we talk about this design. So jumping into Photoshop here, in comparing these two designs, you can see clearly how similar these are. We have the LBX Morizo to the left right here, and we have the beautiful, fantastic, phenomenal GR Corolla on the right side. And you can see that the philosophies here is, as I said, to keep the Lexus a little bit more dialed down, even though the front end looks super aggressive. I would say even more aggressive maybe than the GR Corolla. We have these lights up top looking beautiful. I do like that the angle upward like this, creating more of a frowning look in the front end. We still have the typical Lexus grille, and then they separate and goes into this very big side piece that goes in the very lower section of the front end. I think this is a really cool looking design. I wouldn't call it maybe beautiful, but I don't think this type of car necessarily needs to be beautiful. It just needs to look cool, aggressive, and funky. And I think this LBX Morizo RR concept does just that. And we also have this Morizo, it looks like satin gray like we have on the Morizo GR Corolla as well. Big grille again in the front end, similar size to what we have on the GR Corolla. It looks like a proper rally car from the factory. That's what I love about this car, and that they actually put these cars into production, because I think the LBX is eventually going to go into production. I don't think they would put this much effort, and the boss of Toyota in his promo video talking about how much he loves this car.
It's really good. That's why my face is always smiling.
It's pretty obvious that they eventually gonna make this a proper car that you can buy. So we have a lot of lines here in the side view as well for the LBX. It's still a proper Lexus, because look at these taillights. These taillights to me look very Lexus-ish to me. We do have the light bar in the middle, which is okay because it's something that Lexus had. They've had that for a while now, so I think it also suits the overall design and the identity of Lexus to have that. Then we have these lines. We have sort of a shelf where you have the Lexus logo. These lines then continue into the bumper down here, and we also have these. I'm pretty sure these are not functional air ducts or air vents here, similar to what we have in the GR Corolla in the back. But you can see just how much more aggressively this wide body kit is designed on the Toyota and the GR Corolla. Since it is a Lexus, they want to be a tiny bit more grown up than what Toyota is in their designs, and that is totally fine. That is how it should be between the relationship between Lexus and Toyota. And one detail I love on the side view of the Lexus is this black piece, this black sort of integrated side skirt that we have down here. It just looks great with this wing or shelf cutting out from the body and further planting this car, in addition to this 235mm wide tires and the 19-inch wheels. The wheels themselves look great. Fantastic design of these wheels. And last but not least, we do have this added diffuser in the lower section with the dual exhaust pipes down here. And quickly just compare it to the GR Corolla. I'm not entirely sure which one I prefer here. I think both of these look fantastic. I do like that Toyota went a little bit crazy with the integrations of the exhaust pipes. We have two on the sides, and then we have this big rectangular one in the middle, making it very unique and special for the GR Corolla. Now, looking at the interiors here, I think this is where you can clearly see the difference in maybe quality of the materials used. And again, this is a relationship that Lexus and Toyota should have when they design their cars. Lexus should be the more upscale, of course, version of Toyota. That's the whole reason why Lexus exists. And would you just have a look at this interior? Just how this is an interior that I want to sit in for a very long time. Super cozy, dialed down, dark tones. We do have some ambient lighting right here, some red ambient lighting. We have a screen that looks to be maybe 8 or maybe 10 inches or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. We also have a physical toggle right here for the air control, the temperature controls, which is fantastic. And we have a housing very nicely done for the gauge cluster here with the paddles for the 8-speed automatic, and it looks like the start button is located up there. The seats look to be Alcantara or something like that, and that material comes back in the dash itself. Overall, a very cozy. This is what I talk about when I say cozy interiors, where you feel like you're being wrapped around. The car is wrapping around you, and you're sitting low. You have a gauge cluster that's deep within the dash, and you have a fairly nicely integrated infotainment screen with a couple of physical buttons. This is a great looking interior to me, and so is the GR Corolla, even though this screen feels way less integrated and high quality than it does in the Lexus. But again, that is totally fine because we still have a cap for the gauge cluster, and last but not least, this fantastic manual transmission. If you haven't seen my review of this, I encourage you to go and check it out because it was, as I said, it was the most fun car I reviewed of all 2023, and that video is available on the Sketch Monkey channel. I'm gonna link that down in the description. So the reason why I think bringing in the LBX Morizo RR into the US and selling it here is because I think maybe, you know, the GR Corolla is selling pretty well here, so maybe the LBX would be sort of a stepping stone for people who are not sure if they want a fun, you know, sporty little hatchback. They're not used to this type of format. So bringing in a more slightly luxurious version of the GR Corolla, you still have the 8-speed automatic, but you still have the same powertrain. The styling is not as crazy as it is in the GR Corolla. I think that would be a nice sort of stepping stone for people who are considering a GR Corolla, but they're not sure if they like this format and they still want to have some more luxuries. And that's the reason why I think the LBX, specifically the Morizo edition, would sell really well if Lexus decide to bring it over here and start selling it in the US.